Priscilla, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite books of 2020. So I have a whole bag that I brought with me. I just came to this abandoned house. I thought it would be a fun place to just showcase the books, you know, make it a little more exciting. So I guess let's get started. Welcome to my fireplace. It's looking a little gross, but that's fine, because we're gonna talk about The Giver. So this was definitely such a surprising read. I'm pretty sure that this is middle grade, and I don't really read YA or middle grade, not for any particular reason. I just enjoy adult fiction, and I decided to pick this up because I've heard nothing but amazing things about it, and I love dystopian literature. And this was so good. The plot was pretty straightforward, but I loved the depth of the characters and the depth of really the world. The door's about to shut. Anyways, yeah, so like you learn a lot of the world by the conversations that the characters have, and I thought that that was really cool. Because throughout the whole book, you're like, oh. You know what I'm saying? It was such a fun time. Very quick and easy read. Highly recommend for anyone that likes dystopian literature. That's all I gotta say on that. Hello. Now we're in the kitchen. And don't worry, you're not missing much, because this is literally all there is. Anyways, the next book I want to talk about is Frankincense. I would say this book was not what I expected at all. I mean, we've all heard of Frankenstein. We have our ideas, because there's a lot of Hollywood that has taken inspiration from Frankenstein.
Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
But it's not at all what I expected. It's definitely a story about society and about acceptance and about being a conscious person that is living on the outskirts of society. And I think that that was a fascinating study on beauty and, again, society that I would highly recommend. It was very digestible and relatively short read with about 230 pages, so highly recommend. My very favorite part about this house is this. Look at that. Didn't see you there. The next book I want to talk about is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. And why am I in the bathroom, you ask? Well, great question. In this book, things go to shit. In a good way. The ending of this book was so good, kind of mind-blowing. The characters, there's a lot of family drama. It's about this reporter who goes back to her hometown to investigate the death of these two teenage girls, and she finds out so much. It's such a good thriller and has inspired me to pick up other books by Gillian Flynn. So I'm gonna go wipe myself now, so I think I need a little privacy for that one. The Stand. I gotta say, in all honesty, it was a bit of a controversial one for me. I didn't even think that I would have given it like a 3 stars, but I have sat on this for over a year, and I still decided that this is such a good book. I loved the atmosphere, I loved the world that we were set into, and I read this at the very beginning of quarantine, which is fun because this is kind of about a pandemic, apocalyptic scenario. We all know we low-key kind of wanted an apocalypse because, like, who doesn't love that idea? But yeah, there's that. This is me living out my wildest fantasies of what COVID would be, but unfortunately, it wasn't that fun. It's not that fun. Anyways, if you love The Walking Dead, this is the book for you. My biggest gripe with it is that the conflict was very two-sided. It was very black and white, which is not something that I particularly love in reading fiction, but I will excuse it for this one because the characters were so well built. They're very distinct. It feels very real. It feels very real. It feels very fun, adventurous, scary, and yes, that's exactly what you would want out of a book like this, which is why it's on my top books of 2020, so highly recommend. So the next book I want to talk about is Lord of the Rings. Technically, I only read Fellowship of the Ring, well, reread Fellowship of the Ring in 2020, but this is still one of my favorite trilogies of all time. It just has such good, homey, exploring vibes. Yeah, there's nothing I would love more than to go on an adventure with all of the hobbits, with Bilbo, Frodo, Sam, Pippin, Merry. Do I have to say more? The world building is amazing. Yeah, the characters are just so lovable. I just love the writing, and I love that we just get to see so much of this world. So yeah, I'm try to leave. There's glass everywhere. Just gonna, oop, that don't sound good. Hi, didn't see you there. It's a very windy day today, so this door just keeps slamming, and yeah, it's a little scary, but it's kind of fun, so there's that. Next, I want to talk about Slaughterhouse 5. This was so fun. Again, this is another book that you heard about it. It's been in like your school library, and then you read it and you're like, wow, this was very whimsical to start with. It was a little confusing, not what you would expect from a book called Slaughterhouse 5, but I would highly recommend, if you have any idea what this book is about, just read it. It's a weird, wild ride, and I definitely feel like I have to read it again just to really cement the story in my head. Yeah, 5 out of 5. They're my favorites. Alright, the next book I have here is... Ooh, okay, so this was also a beginning of quarantine read, and here we have The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Oh my gosh. Oh, there goes the door again. This put me in such a fantasy reading mood because it is literally everything that you would want from a fantasy world. The magic is dope. It's multi-POV, so you're following different people, which makes the story so much more full, and the world building is just so good. You can really put yourself there, even though obviously it's a very fictional world. I love that even the creatures and the animals in this world are kind of ocean-centered. You'll see what I mean if you read the books, but yeah, I just loved that aesthetic, and I love the characters. How many times am I gonna say that? Yeah, you're following multiple different characters: Kaladin, Shallan, Dalinar. Those are the main 3 characters that you follow. There are other characters as well. I just kind of don't want to say a lot. I just want to say, hey, if you've seen this and you've thought about it, I would highly recommend. Alright, there's that. 5 out of 5 stars. Let's go. One of my favorite parts about exploring abandoned buildings is that you find sometimes little quirky things, like this cabinet. Like how... You heard that? I think that was the door slamming again. Anyways, you find a lot of cool things, like look at this little cabinet right here. No idea what it was used for, but it's inside a closet. And yeah, it's a cool little detail. If you love political fiction, if you love amazing worlds building, and if you love Star Wars, this is the book for you. The political intrigue, the interesting characters, the subplots that make up the greater universe of Dune, and so much of the religious and cultural, psychological commentary on people and people in power is so interesting and can definitely be applied in so many ways to the current climate that we live in. I don't know, it's just a lot of food for thought in this book, very well executed, and one of my favorite series by far, so yeah, those were my favorite books of 2020. Yay! There's that. I hope you found this interesting, entertaining, found a book that you might want to give it a try in the future, and I guess I'll see you next time. Alright, peace out. I'm not Priscilla.